problems with events in general is that the information presented is broad because it needs to appeal to a wide audience. It's hard to personalize to each individual attendee. And this is where I feel online events and online classes specifically can actually have more power and influence than an in-person event if you set it up correctly. The power of reflection cannot be understated. If I know that I will be presenting material in a training or workshop, and even specific classes that I really, really want the attendees to internalize, reflect on, and apply to their own personal life, I always start with this activity. When facilitators or teachers give us information, that's okay. When they ask us to reflect on that material, it's even better. When they ask us to reflect on that material and think of ways we could potentially include it in the future, that's even one step better. But the best is when you give attendees or students a prompt to think about something specific in their own lives before the material, then you give them the material, and then you ask them to reflect on what that material would mean to them in that particular situation. If you're organizing an event and you are not the speaker, you can still organize it this way for your own increased engagement. This is not something that the speaker has to facilitate. So what I'm going to do in a second is I'm going to drop a link in the chat. Once I do this and you click on it, you'll see that it takes you to Google Slides. I want you to find an open slide that no one else is on, claim it as your own by putting your name in the top where it tells you to, and then answer the questions. You'll have 2 minutes to do this, and then I will discuss some facilitator notes and some debriefs on that. So here's the link. Some facilitator notes for this game. I always make sure that I have way too many slides preset for this activity. And then right before I start the activity or share the link, I delete extra slides, so there's only a couple more than the number of attendees. This always makes it look like there is a perfect attendance to exactly what I expected. And subconsciously, this can help attendees feel like they were expected and valued. There would be nothing worse than having 100 slides and only 20 people show up, which could give thoughts that no one wanted to come or that I expected way more. Alternatively, I don't want to have too few slides, which would make me look unprepared. The biggest mistakes that I see in this type of activity is the facilitator not sharing an editable link. Google defaults to viewer, and this has to be manually changed. Also, if you are sharing links in the chat and in follow-up emails, I would suggest using a link shortening service that you can customize. It makes you look pre-prepared. It can make the links easy to remember. TinyURL is a popular one that's out there, but there are a lot of other ones. However, if you're affiliated with a university, I would avoid bit.ly, bit.ly, because they tend to give error messages with most of the security filters at universities for some reason. And even in a lot of the Facebook groups, bit.ly just doesn't seem to work with a lot of systems. Even in my classroom, I always have students type in their own name and choose their own slide. Not only does this cut down time as people search for their name, but it also allows students just a little bit of agency of choice and feeling like they are in control. I got to choose this slide. If I am using this for grading purposes or if I'll reference back to it, I'll have my teaching assistant go in and drag and drop for alphabetical order for ease of purpose later. One of the largest missed opportunities that I witness is that facilitators do not revisit this activity for their reflection. As you can expect, we will go back to this activity at the end, or if you're watching this as a recorded clip on YouTube, make sure to watch the follow-up video for reflecting and applying the material to your life.